Well, without a doubt, the greatest band in the history of popular music. The only other band that could possibly claim that title is the Scandinavian underground band Chocolate Bunny's Go to Hell. We're talking about the Beatles. And in the studio with me are the Beatles. They are Cameron Charters, Paul Green, Chris Fraser, Michael Brady. And I know what you're going to say, they don't sound like the Beatles, but they do. That is because they are the cast of Beatlemania. They are on tour in South Africa. They're in Durban to entertain you. And if by any chance you know the music of the Beatles, you love the music of the Beatles, you've got to see the show. What I have to do, though, is you just have to check, make sure they do know the stuff about the Beatles. So if you don't mind a quick quiz, you guys okay?
Yes.
Paul Green, you play George Harrison. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question. The answer to your question has to contain a song title from the Beatles. Do you think you can do that?
Yeah,
All
sure.
right. When is the last time you had a shower, Paul?
Yesterday.
Oh, okay, pass. Cameron, you play Paul McCartney. Here's a question for you. On what day do you become a year older?
My birthday.
All right, well done. John Lennon, played by Chris Fraser. Oh, a tricky one for you. If you were a farmer, what kind of fields would you like to see before you?
Strawberry ones.
There you go. And finally, Michael Brady, you play Ringo Starr, Pete Best. What do you say each morning when you look east?
Here comes the sun.
Well done. Okay, past friends. You may play the part of the Beatles. You guys have been performing together for ages now. Let me ask you, Paul, what is it about the music of the Beatles that makes it so compelling?
Oh, just the songs are just so catchy, and we, our show, we play all the trippy stuff too, and yeah, Chris.
He needs some help.
I'm not Paul. I'm not going to answer for you.
If people were to look back on the music of the Beatles, you can't really pigeonhole them into any kind of style of music because they experiment and they try just about everything. Cameron, let me ask you, I mean, do you tell that story right the way through the entire show, or do you focus on one area?
No, we go right through the whole career of the Beatles, from before they were famous when they were playing in Hamburg, right through to Sgt. Pepper's. We cover all the bases.
So in fact what you do is you tell the story of the Beatles.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a musical biography. So essentially you can, even if you don't know a thing about the Beatles, you could sit down and watch our show and be quite well informed by the end of the show.
I think there's people who listen to any radio station now. It'd be very hard to listen to a radio station and not hear the music of the Beatles, especially if you're listening to a pop music station. So people hear the music of the Beatles, but there's a generation that don't know the story of the Beatles. So what you're saying is that even if they don't know the story of the Beatles, they came along to the show, they'll be able to pick it up.
Absolutely.
What we really do is put you as an audience member in the key historic moments that built their career, like right from the beginning, before they were famous, when they were just a covers band employed in Hamburg, 6-week stints.
And then each milestone they achieved during their career.
For example, we build their career with you, and you really, as an audience member, you mature with the Beatles, and you get to be on the set of Ed Sullivan, like in the Cavern Club, in the Star Club in Hamburg, Shea Stadium, like these iconic moments in Beatle history. We get to portray them and put you as an audience member there, and really the audience is there to create the mania. We'll do the Beatles. We call ourselves Beatlemania on tour, because it gives our audience an opportunity to go nuts, just like they did back in the day.
Yeah, it's good fun.
But it's very demanding. I mean, it's not a case of just getting up there and sort of singing Beatles songs. I mean, to recreate that, I mean, it's very demanding. How do you do that?
Well, we're all trained musicians. Like, personally, I went to a music sort of based school and studied it all through university, and playing in bands is pretty much my profession. And so we've taken on the personas of the Beatles, and we put on the full costumes, and once you're in the costume and you've taken on the persona, it's quite, it's not easy, but it helps us recreate not only the look, but the sound as well.
As Beatles fans, we have poured through hours and hours and hours and hours of just memorabilia, footage, biographies,
rare recordings, popular recordings.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I've got an acting background since I was 13, and also we've got an artistic director, which obviously was honed the show, from an audience perspective, and put us in character, like from an audience perspective.
And he's English, so he's helped us with our accents as well.
Yeah, so
because that's an important part of it. I mean, you can't sort of play the part of John Lennon or Paul McCartney and sound like you come from Brisbane.
That's
tricky.
that's exactly right, mate.
Cameron, let me ask you. You guys are walking a very fine line because you're playing four of the most sort of iconic characters in pop music. So the moment you start playing, people say, "Oh, I'm going to love that song," so they're going to be attracted towards it. But at the same time, there are people who can say, "But they're not really the Beatles." I mean, you got to walk a very fine line. How do you get that balance right?
We just try to be as close as you can. That's all we do. We just try and sing our best and mimic everything that we can see that the actual Beatles did.
Yeah.
And just put on the best show we can, and we're having great reactions at the moment. So.
But apparently, sorry, forgive me for kicking in here, but you play bass, you play Paul McCartney, but he's left-handed. Are you left-handed?
I'm not. No.
So do you play left-handed?
I play left-handed in this show.
So in other words, you had to learn how to play left-handed.
That's exactly right.
And we applaud him every night.
Yeah, we were very impressed.
Done it again.
Yes.
Well done, Cameron.
We were very impressed when he showed up with his left-handed style and his left-handed bass. We were stoked. So he's a talented musician.
The relationship between the Beatles changed as the band evolved, and there was a lot of drama, there's a lot of tension between them. Have you managed to recreate that or tap into
Absolutely,
that?
every day we
had
fight
a bit of,
purely just to be authentic.
We had a bit of tension just on the way to the studio this morning. Nearly killed each other.
We were going backwards down a one-way street on two wheels, and whilst I was surfing on the top of the car, it was wonderful.
Chatting to the cast of Beatlemania on tour, the Cameron Charters, Paul Green, Chris Fraser, Michael Brady from Australia. They've been in the country for a while. They're now in Durban. The show is on at the Zulu Theatre at Sabaya. And when does the show start?
Tonight.
So it starts tonight. Starts tonight. Gee whiz.
8 o'clock.
All right, and tickets are available from? Tickets available from CompuTicket. We'll be hearing more about them in a couple of minutes.
And now, the man of the moment.